Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Christ the royal master leads against the foe, forward into battle, see his banners go. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Oh, for a faith that will not shrink, though pressed by every foe, that will not tremble on the brink of any earthly woe, that will not murmur or complain beneath a chastening rod, but in the hour of grief or pain will lean upon its God. A faith that shines more bright and clear when tempest rage without, that when in danger knows no fear, in darkness feels no doubt. Lord, give us such a faith as this, and then whatever may come, we'll taste and hear the hallowed bliss of an eternal home. A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify, a never-dying soul to save, and fitted for the sky, to serve the present age, my calling to fulfill. Oh, may it all my powers engage to do my Master's will. Arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live, and O thy servant, Lord, prepare a strict account to give. Help me to watch and pray, and on thyself rely. Assured if I my trust betray, I shall forever die. Rise up, O men of God, have done with lesser things. Give heart and mind and soul and strength to serve the King of Kings. Rise up, O men of God, his kingdom tarries long. Bring in the day of brotherhood and end the night of wrong. Rise up, O men of God, the church for you doth wait. Her strength unequal to her task, rise up and make her great. Lift high the cross of Christ, tread where his feet have trod. As brothers of the Son of Man, rise up, O men of God. Good afternoon, good evening, greetings and salutations. Thank you all for being here. Good to see you, Ghost. Good to see you, Charlie. And just to add by way of information, there are two streams here, one to Facebook as well as one to YouTube. So you may only see a couple here on YouTube, but there's a whole bunch more over on Facebook, and it always fluctuates. So don't worry, you're not alone. Yep. Hopefully you've had a good day. I know that it's been kind of a chilly, but it actually warmed up out here in the middle of Nowhereville. And some of the snow is melting. Can't say as I'm unhappy about that. I can't say as I'm glad, because I like my snow. It's the cold weather I don't like. But then again, we're supposed to have freezing temperature dropping down for some freezing rain and perhaps some snow this evening as well. Yes, I do include that timer in there so that people know that, okay, this is just the startup video, the intro. Just like you have a lot of on your TV programs and things, you got a little intro video. Well, that gives me time to do tagging and get things squared away so I can start fresh and start chatting with y'all right away. Of course, without that cold weather, we wouldn't have the snow, so you can all get out and go sledding and have snowball fights and build snow forts, snowmen, and make snow angels, right? All those lovely things we like to do in the snow. Oh, wait, that's only for us kids. You adults don't like to do that, right? Kids on my school bus, I drive school bus for a living. Kids on the school bus are like, who's the last kid off? And I'm like, I am. No, you're an adult. I'm a kid. Nuh-uh. I said, uh-huh. My mom and dad are still alive. And so I said, I may drive a school bus and I may be an old person, but at least especially to them. But hey, driving a school bus keeps me young. I'm young at heart. I like having a good snowball fight. My joints don't move as well as they used to, but a good snowball fight's still fun. Oh, thank you, Ghost. A lot of times I think we get too wrapped up in the adult world to forget what it was like being a kid. And then we miss all the fun. Now, there's a time and place. There is a time and place to be an adult. But then there's the time and the place to have fun and be a kid. We're only on this earth for what, maybe 60 to, if we're truly blessed, 100 years. That's kind of a drop in the bucket in the grand scheme of things. Why do we run ourselves ragged? Right? Do I have hobbies? Oh yes, I have lots of hobbies. I like I like my little hobby farm that I do. I've got a little 3 acres here that I have my garden that I like to putz around in during the warmer months. I have my cats and my chickens and my dog. I like to hunt. I like to fish. I like to woodwork. Whether it's working on my lathe or carving spoons and utensils. working with my hands, in other words. I like pyrography, which is wood burning with artistic intent. Um, I love to knit and crochet. I like art. I like drawing. I like painting. Um, but as you can see, this little beast right here, I also like building my own computers, and I do game at times. So, yeah, I got a lot of hobbies. I hope one day to add airline or airplane, I should say, airplane pilot to that. Um, that's might be a couple years in the future, but that's something I hope to uh, to put on there. I'm looking at possibly getting my feet wet with ultralights. So Donnie says, "Do I understand the movement of the body? Snowball fight, no ice in it. Yes, no ice, no ice." I think Donnie is a childhood friend of mine, and we both have had our share of ice ball fights. Good evening, Ruby. Good to see you. If I could give anyone approaching 30 one piece of advice, what would it be? Slow down. Enjoy your family. I know that's two probably pieces of advice, but if you put them together, it's one. Slow down and enjoy your family. Life's too fast. Um, Slow down, enjoy your family, and recognize that you don't have to control everything. You don't. Life is not about money. It's not about the things that you possess. It's really not even about who you know or what you know. Um, I could qualify that. It is about who you know, and that is who with a capital W. Um, because I'm a Christian and I thoroughly believe in God, and I believe that a life should be based upon Him and His principles. Um, but slow down. We weren't meant to live at a breakneck speed, and we weren't meant to live apart from each other. Slow down. My daughter did this. Yes, that's why it's up there. My daughter did that. She did that of me. Always take time to grab a book, nice cup of hot coffee or a cup of hot cocoa, cup of hot cider, your preference. Hot tea. I love all of those. Those are all good. And sit back, relax. She did all that. So October of last year. So, she has really, really, really bloomed as an artist herself. So last year she entered her first ever competition. Went to the county fair and won first prize. So human figure wise, I'm not far behind you there, Ghost. I'm I'm probably pretty good at stick figures, but I couldn't do that very well at all. Um, Now landscape, I can do okay. Um, Tracing um, onto the woods. I usually take building blocks from someone. Take what someone else has done from long, long ago, like things that are out of copyright. And I will begin with that, and I will alter it because make it my own work, because I do not believe in plagiarism. But I will take their idea and take what they do. I'll alter it to make it mine, and then I'll plop it on the piece. And so I'll get inspiration from from something somebody else has done, and I'll transform it, make it mine, and make the piece. But yeah, I'm always happy to say, okay, this is where I got my inspiration for this piece, and I do not claim when it comes to human figures and stuff. I cannot do it. I have not got the skill yet. Do I have any pets? Yes. Oh, absolutely. I have anywhere between 20 to 30 barn cats. Yes, they're all domesticated. And we have one dog. Most of my chickens are pretty placid. You can usually get close to most of them and pet them. But those are those, and then I have some fish. 2 gold pigs, 2 plecos, and some other striped weird fish that I don't remember what is, and haven't for the last 4 years that we've owned it. I never can remember what it is. It's quite prevalent, actually. I know a lot of people that are allergic to one or the other, either cats or dogs. Good Lord. What? My daughter calls it tigerfish. But it's really living on 3 acres out in the middle of nowhere. We're surrounded by other farmers, and it's fun because you know who your neighbors are, and you can have a good rapport. But you also get to go home and not have to be worried about them bothering you unless they need something. Need it, and it's important. They're not going to sit over there and annoy you. But also, that when they need something, you're there for them, and vice versa. If you need something, they're there for you. We've been here. This is our 6th year now. And because we moved up here in 2020. And I don't know how many cattle drives we've seen, because my neighbor across the road actually owns, I don't know how many head of cattle, but he'll drive them from one field to the other right alongside the very busy highway that we have, not an interstate, but the very busy highway. Just no sense in throwing them onto a cattle trailer. It just simply opens the gate, starts driving them. And, so we've helped with that a couple of times. And, they had cattle get out one time, and we helped find them and get them back in. What is my favorite TV show? I would have to say, when we do watch TV, I'll qualify at that. I don't often watch TV, but when I do watch TV, the one I like to watch was Forged in Fire. I like a lot of the history type programs, ones that are true to ones that like Forge and Fire do a bunch of crafting. Last Man Standing was kind of cool too, but uh, Forge, but do the crafting in the old style, the old things. But also, I like some of the history stuff. Newer things. What can I say? I liked NCIS. I haven't been able to keep up with it because we kind of lost the train after Ducky died. I just haven't had the heart to go back to it since Ducky died. But um, so that kind of tells you how far back behind on NCIS I am. But those are probably more of the newer shows. Those are my favorite. And Ducky, of course, was one of the main characters on NCIS. So, um, Dr. Mallard, Ducky. We also, kind of we've enjoyed a lot of the cooking shows, um, especially the kids baking and things of that nature. As a family, do I get into some of the like the anime and things like that? Not really. I have done I have watched anime in the past, especially when I was a lot younger, but not so much anymore. I get more into the crafting and the right now into the gaming than I do much of anything else. But in all clarity, streaming takes most of my time these days because I have my morning devotion, and then I have my partner here for CEM, uh, CJ. He does his Bible reading at noontime, noon 30 my time. Um, then in the afternoon, well, Monday we have we have the study class in the afternoon. Then one that I have a program that's not affiliated with CEM. It's the Let's Read the Whole Bible, y'all. We do stream it to CEM, but it's not affiliated. And then I have evening edification. So my day is pretty full of streaming. Um, and when we, in then Tuesday, I have midweek Bible study, and in addition to morning Devo and CJ's reading and the Let's Read You the Whole Bible in the evening. Wednesday, just Devo, CJ's reading, and this evening edification. Thursday, well, it's back to kind of a full swing of things with the Devo, the noon reading, the evening reading, and then evening edification. And Friday, well, there we go again. Morning Devo. We have the noon reading. CJ has Theology Matters in the afternoon, and then we have evening reading, and then evening edification. Saturday is more light. We have a 15-minute Devo in the morning. O'Shea has noontime nuggets for CEM, and then I don't remember if CJ doesn't. I think CJ doesn't noon reading, and then we have evening edification, or we have evening reading. So it's like, wow, busy. Oh, you're going on vacay. Where are you going now? Where are you headed? And if you don't mind my asking, what part of the country, what part of the world you live in? Got to ask that. I live in the middle of nowhere, otherwise known as the Midwest, Iowa. I can see that you're really excited about your vacay. California, Florida to California. Wow. Soccer. You're headed all the way out to California for soccer? That's some dedication, my friend. That is some dedication. Way to go. You be there for her and cheer her on. Well done. And the fact that she's headed that direction, well done. She playing professional or for college? Or something else? Travel team. One of the students on my bus, for a number of years, basically he joined me in his fourth grade, and he's now in ninth grade. Ninth grade. So from fourth grade to middle of eighth grade, he was actually very big into the states. This state's Iowa's children's pro division, and so that kid had an arm. Even in sixth grade, he was pitching 60 to 65 mile an hour. I think he had a 62 mile an hour fastball. Which, when you think about it, for a sixth grader, that's actually a pretty fast ball. And unfortunately, he had an injury to his arm, and 6 months later, it reoccurred because they didn't take care of it. His medical team didn't take care of it properly. So after all that, he kind of sloughed off and decided he's not going to go back for pro, but doesn't think he'll go back for any more of it. But his team was doing pretty good. I was like, hey, he ended up going for a private school so he could focus more on the baseball. And so he left me for about a year and a half. But that's some dedication to be on one of those teams like that and to have to travel and do that. So kudos to her, and kudos to you as a supporter for her. Enjoy your vacation, get a good night's rest, and travel safe out there, because we all know how that road can be. So be careful out there. Thanks for the like and the subscribe. Awesome. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Topics? I need to put that banner up there. I completely forgot to do that. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. one of the reasons that I started even in Edification was to have these kind of personal chats and, you know, fireside type chats, just where we can sit back and interact, hopefully offer some encouragement with to one another, because there's so much out there. Life is so fast already. Let's just sit back and enjoy a cup of coffee. Which, hey, Shua, let me see if I can get a cup of coffee. Do we have any coffee available? And so, ooh, thank you. Appreciate it. You can sit in here as long as you're quiet. I got some coffee. I love this. You can't scare me. I drive a bus. We today, as I've dropped the majority of my kids off, and we come back to the stop sign. I have one, two, three, four. I have 6 stops left. 2 in town, and the rest all out of town. So I get to the stop sign, and I have to turn right to cross a viaduct. Before then, I'd have to make my next turn, and it's a very short, like half a block, um, to between the two streets that, that I have to that I have to transverse. And as we're at the stop sign, we look to the right, and there, down the street from us, is a law enforcement officer. He's got his lights lit up, and he's walking to the vehicle ahead of him, and now most of my riders have been with me for quite a long time. I do have a new kindergartner who has started riding this year, and he in fact is my second of the 6 stops. But he's new enough to have never had an opportunity to hear this. But um, we looked out, and I and 2 or 3 of the others happened to notice this law enforcement. We're like, "Oh, hey, look, it's a Christmas tree." And this young precocious little kindergartner goes, it's a police officer. Like, no, it's a Christmas tree. He's all lit up. Whoops. um. Anyway, so I was like, it's a Christmas tree. It's all lit up and handing out presents. No, it's a police officer. And so, so we have our little argument all the way to the first stop, and I have to do a turnaround to drop this first stop off and head back the direction I was coming, because the second one gets dropped off at a business. Well, the fun thing is that as I drop the first guy off, after I get done dropping the first guy off, we go on, and I am so busy talking with and explaining this to the youngster, how this is, the way that my truck driving brother explained it to me. This is their lingo, that I totally miss his stop. Hey, Lil. So I drive right on by his stop, come back to that stop sign where I had turned and we had seen the officer. I says, well, we'll just have to see if it is a Christmas tree or a law enforcement, a police officer. So we pull across the intersection into the Dollar General parking lot where we can see pretty good. And I do a turnaround to go back to his, so I can go back to his. And he's like, see, it's a police officer. I says, well, you're right. But it's also a Christmas tree because he's all lit up just like a Christmas tree is, right? And he's giving out free presents. Oh, he says he finally understands the lingo. and and so we go back and pull into the business parking lot, and I pull up to the door so he can get off, the little kindergartner, he can get off, walk up to the door, and his mom meets us at the door. And I said, we had to go see if it was a police officer or a Christmas tree. We had to explain the situation to her, and she just bust out laughing. And she ended up thanking me for doing just that little thing for him, because she just thought that was pretty funny. But she had been worried when she saw the bus go by twice. But I didn't explain that I had forgotten. I just drove right on past his stop. I guess that works.
Yeah.
Did it?
Post said something really fun.
No.
So,
Are you headed that way?
I
Oh.
just got back. This is a big one. I have to by the
No, I see. It's hard to find anything in there.
and yeah, what? When I get to it.
Right.
So until he gets the trees.
Yep. So like I said, I didn't explain that. Didn't explain that I had totally missed the stop. I just framed it as in we had to go see whether it was a police officer or a Christmas tree. Hello, Starboy. But when she heard about that lingo and everything, she was pretty cool about it and thought it was really really neat that I did that for the uh, for her little one. So he is quite the cute little kiddo. He's one of those kids that never meets a stranger. Everyone's just a friend he hasn't introduced himself to, and I really, in a lot of ways, I hope he never loses that innocence. Can it be irritating some days? Oh yes, but I only say that because it gets in the way as I'm driving and trying to maintain order on the bus. But I absolutely love having him on the bus. Oh. So how's y'all's day been going? My day, as you can tell, has been quite interesting. And thankfully, it wasn't me that they had pulled over. By the time we got done, after we dropped this kid off, and got back to the stop sign. There was, I mean, the law enforcement officer was gone, long gone. So he must have just been finishing up his traffic stop when we went through and saw all that. Oh. Donnie says it's snowing over there where he's at work. He said that about 30 minutes ago. Hello, Reba. Good to see you, sister. And we're supposed to get freezing rain and snow tonight. I'm not looking forward to the sneezing rain tomorrow. Um, that'll make roads difficult when I try to drive school bus tomorrow. That's for sure. The way of the road, yes. One of our, you know, Iowa is actually home to a lot of famous people. Um, for example, one of the more famous singers was born and raised here was Andy Williams. Of course, if you're not very old, you might not know him. He passed away a few years ago. Um, but he was kind of big in the 60s and 60s through 90s, really had a show down in Branson. Um, but he grew up about, probably about an hour drive from here, maybe a little over an hour. Well, another singer who actually began his career as an insurance agent and salesman, kind of continued it even through his singing career, was C.W. McCall, and he actually was born and raised just about 30 minutes, maybe 15 minutes from here, over in Audubon, and he sings. He has some songs about his area. Um, when he talks about the Nishnabotna, that little river is about 15 minutes from here. Um, so of course he was more of a trucker singer, but he's most famous for Convoy, which they made a movie out of. Another famous person, a couple of them, you might remember from Baseball Hall of Fame, Bob Feller, but also from Movie Star Hall of Fame. There was a young gentleman by the name of Marion Morrison. Anybody ever hear of him? And he was born and lived about 45 minutes from here. Brown Eyed Girl. Reba does. That name rings a bell, a little. Now I got to go look that one up. No, not Van Morrison. Marion Morrison. That's kind of what I was thinking too, Ruby. My brown-eyed girl. But no, not Van Morrison. Marion Morrison. Marion Morrison began life in Iowa, but because his dad developed tuberculosis, a very dreaded disease, they had to move to Arizona, where in the course of his teenage years, or I believe it was, he encountered the stage, the movie sets, where he actually got to watch, and while he was working, but he got to watch uh, uh, men, and he became familiar with men like uh, Wyatt Earp, Bat Masterson, and um, movie stars like Tom Mix, and things like that, and guys like that, Roy Rogers, etc. But he patterned his future walk, which made him really famous, after the walk of Wyatt Earp. And like I said, he began working there with the movie crews and things of that nature. But when he wanted to break into the acting, he decided that Marion Morrison was not a name set for TV or for movies, and so he had to change his name. And no, it wasn't Clint Eastwood. It was indeed John Wayne. He changed his name to John Wayne because Marion Morrison, of course, didn't sound all that manly, and it wasn't all that, uh, you know, great as a um, as an actor's name. Nothing really that memorable. But yeah, he changed his name to John Wayne. But yes, he actually patterned his walk after the walk of Wyatt Earp. So fascinating little thing. Clint Eastwood, he was fascinating as well. He almost didn't make it through his stint in the military. Um, what was it? He ended up. He was stationed in California, had to go home to Washington for some reason, which was not that difficult. But then he had to get back to base, and in order to get back to base, well, he had to fly. And the problem is that the military planes that he was arranged to fly on had to cancel because of weather or some such. Well, he needed to be back in time for, or by a certain time, otherwise he would have been AWOL. And so he arranged to fly with a pilot, um, but the only place for him to fly was in a uh, was basically in the cargo hold of this particular airplane, and there was no atmosphere in it, which would have been all right because the guy the pilot was going to stay within atmospheric range, or place for where he would have had oxygen. However, a storm rolled in, and he had to fly above a certain ceiling level so that and he almost killed poor Clint Eastwood. They ended up, and through a series of unfortunate events, they both ended up um, in the ocean off the shore of California, stranded after he had to dump his plane because both of them lost consciousness and flew into a storm or some such. They ended up losing the plane. And if it hadn't have been for Clint Eastwood, that pilot would have died. But so Clint Eastwood ended up saving the pilot, and in return, actually, it was just one of those weird sort of things that the one ended up saving the other, ended up saving the other type of a situation. And it's we don't judge you about liking dramas. Now, scary movies, that might be a different thing, but The Quiet Man wasn't bad. Which one was the one where he played the fighter that returns to Ireland? Was that The Quiet Man? But I loved that one. That one was hilarious. It was a great movie. Him and was who was it that played Kate? Was that Maureen O'Hare? Do I have a favorite Christian movie? I'll tell you. I really liked the Kendrick brothers in Fireproof. Well, not just Fireproof, but Flywheel and Flywheel and Fireproof were probably two of my favorite ones. But my all-time favorite is a show which many probably haven't heard. Comes from the 1990s. It's entitled Rigoletto and was produced by Feature Films for Families. It is a musical, in essence. I have never seen The Passion of the Christ, and I won't. And there's a couple of reasons why. First, I don't need that. I have a vivid enough imagination that when I read the story, when I read stories, they come alive. It doesn't take me long to actually enter into the theater of the mind. I was blessed by that. Thank you, Mother, who introduced me to reading at a very early age. She read to me from who knows how old of an age, probably before I was even born. But I entered into kindergarten already reading at least a first, if not a second grade level, because of Mother. So I have a very vivid imagination. So when I read the account of Christ, I can see Christ in the garden. I can see him going through all of that passion. I don't need the movie. Second, due to an accident, Donnie would verify it if he was here, because it happened at his creek, about a half mile from his house. Back in 1994, if I want to tell you, if you want to know exactly how far back that was, wherein we were at the local, or at their swimming hole. I jumped into the creek and I landed on a submerged branch, which went into my foot, and it damaged a tendon and a nerve. I cannot watch that type of movie. I can't watch any horror movie. can't watch that type of that vivid, that visceral of a movie. It affects me so much that it hurts. I literally feel the pain. Um, just even sitting here thinking of uh, Christ on that cross, I feel the nails go through. So it literally affects me that bad. Um, like I said, I do not need the video. I can see, I can feel. Um, it's very real to me. We're sitting here 30 years now from that event of that branch going into my foot, and I still feel that branch going into my foot. Um, yeah, yeah, it's brutal. And reading that every time, reading about how Christ went to that cross and the lashes of that whip that he was scourged with, um, thinking of the crown being put on his head, just small pinpricks of that, and then they go and they take the reed and they beat it into his head. Um, I just can't. That's a good song, Lil. So that's why I'll never watch that. That's why I can't. So, for my favorite ones, like I said, Rigoletto. I'll watch that one time and time again. Now, I know it's not considered a Christian movie, but outside of the Christian genre would be Fiddler on the Roof. I don't know how many times I've watched that one. Um, and I'll continue watching that one. Another good one I like is Anne of Green Gables. Anne of Green Gables, as played by Megan Follows. That one is the premiere movie for you. I mean, I cannot watch another Anne of Green Gables because Megan did such a well done. I mean, they did such a well done version of Anne of Green Gables that I can't. And there's only one place to actually get that, and it's a Canadian um, website. I actually have and own that through their streaming service. I just got to remember what it is. Anyway, um, So I think those ones. I mean, if you like drama, if you like romance, if you like, I mean, because Lucy Maud Montgomery did an excellent job writing those the Anne of Green Gables series, and when they put it to movie, um, I can't remember now who the producer was that they got to do it, but he did such a fantastical job with Lucy as playing, or with rather Megan playing the premiere part. It's like everybody has their favorite Sherlock Holmes. Mine happens to be Jeremy Brett. Um, some people like Basil or Rathborn, or not Rathborn, Overton. Others, have other people. To me, it'll always be Jeremy Brett. Um, Hercule Poirot. If you've ever watched Agatha Christie's Hercule Poirot, to me, the only one, the one true and only ever Poirot will ever be David Suchet. Um, if you've never watched those are great mystery series. Um, I think David Suchet played Poirot is for something like 20 some years. Um, and did just such a bang up job on it that I don't think there's going to be ever anybody that can ever touch him. And now you guys are getting me making me want to go and watch Hercule. but but yeah, uh, I mean, I've watched plenty of movies in my time. I mean, when I worked at a gas station up in Minnesota, they actually had a movie, rental service attached to it, as in part of the gas station. So people could come in, buy gas, or rent movies, And so I would end up renting out movies to people. Well, I, as a perk, got to rent my movies for free. So, which one? Hercule Poirot? I'm glad you asked. I'll do you one better. There he is, David Suchet, as Hercule Poirot, that little Belgian detective. If you love detective series, I highly recommend this one. He was my mother's favorite detective. You're welcome. Um, 33 novels, 2 plays, 51 short stories published between 1920 and 1975. Um, Been portrayed by numerous actors in film, television, stage, and radio, including David Suchet, John Moffat, Peter Ustinov, and Kenneth Branagh. So, let me. Oh, sorry. I got to stop that one. No way. Oh, that's cool. So I see that Walmart has them, Amazon has them. Um, the complete set depends upon who you go through. About $70, anywhere between 40 to 70. Um, ran from 1989 to 2013. Let's see. So that'll tell you how long it ran. Yep, 24 years. I guess I wasn't showing that tab, but here you go. This is the no, don't want that. Let's see if I can see what David Suchet says about it. Hey.
Actor. Watching these young actors come in, I would say to the producer, watch this one. Watch this one's future. Because I think they're going to really be big. And if I maybe allow myself to boast, I was never wrong.
Huh. Some of the actors that played on Prado.
looking back now at 25 years, quarter of a century, I can say that so many of great actors from different countries, some of them anyway, began their career with me.
So yeah, Hercule Poirot, Agatha Christie's Poirot. Yes. Let me go back to that other tab so you can actually see the name of the. Here's the name there. The Agatha Christie's Poirot. Let me pull it up. Ooh, I can even make it big. Right here. Now I really, like I said, I like this one as for mystery. Um, wow, that's really going expensive. I have this set for comedy, and I got it when it wasn't anywhere near that expensive. Let me tell you that. You might recognize him as Dr. House. Hugh Laurie. PG. This series comes from PG Woodhouse's Jeeves and Wooster series, and detailing the all the shenanigans that happen to this young nobleman about the turn of the century. Wooster, Bertram Wooster, happens to be a young nobleman's son, or a well-to-do, yet, well, it'd be about the time when they were kind of on their way on the well-to-do houses were on their way out. So what about the late 1800s, early 1900s, and he of course had a man's man, that would be Jeeves, his valet, and all the shenanigans that they get into. Oh, let's see. I was going to do that. Anyhow, that poor Jeeves has to do to try to keep poor Birdie out of the hands of the law and all that other good stuff. So it isn't easy, let me tell you that. So anyway, those some fun. That one's more comedy. If you like mystery, again, like I said, the Poirot, but also Jeremy Brett as Sherlock Holmes. I must say, as you know, growing up watching him, I prefer him to Basil Overton. Is it Overton? Or is it Rathbun? Anyway, I think there was 2 series. There was The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes and The Further Adventures, or some such matter. This man was so dedicated to his craft that even while he was mortally sick, I mean, he was literally dying. He was still filming. I believe he died of cancer, but he was of such of a ethic. The show must go on. He had to continue. Yeah. Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, and then I liked Edward Hardwicke better as Watson than David Burke, but they both were good. But I was hoping it said what the second one was. Yeah. Okay. So you had The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, and then The Return of Sherlock Holmes. I never saw the case book or the memoirs, but I may have and just never realized it. So those are that's another good series for mysteries. Anyhow, Let me get to one song before we close out. And since she mentioned it, do not lose your place. Thank you. We'll go for the one that Lil mentioned. Rock of ages, cleft for me, let me hide myself in thee. Let the water and the blood from thy riven side which flowed be of sin the double cure. Cleanse me from its guilt and power. Not the labor of my hands can fulfill the law's demands. Could my zeal no respite know? Could my tears forever flow? All for sin could not atone. Thou must save, and thou alone. Nothing in my hand I bring, simply to thy cross I cling. Naked come to thee for dress, helpless look to thee for grace. Thy light to the fountain fly, wash me, Savior, or I die. Amen. Hopefully, prayerfully, you've enjoyed this time of self-discovery, or rather discovery more about me and my likes. And hopefully I've encouraged you. God gave us time on this earth to enjoy his creation, to be good stewards of what he has given us. And that includes our time on this earth. Let's be about his business, but recognize that even in the midst of all of that, we do need an occasional time to pause, to reflect, to recharge our batteries, and to edify one another. That way, whether we wake tomorrow to serve God here on this earth, or we wake tomorrow to serve him up there where we all long to be, you know where I'll have the pleasure, the privilege, and the honor of being. For I'll see you then. God bless in your walk with him. I love you all, and have a blessed evening.